What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Cosmic Harry here, rolling out in my Death Star Fv215b 183 tier 10 British TD, firm favourite on my YouTube channel, and a favourite tank, if there was one, in my arsenal, because it's 100% a ton of fun to play with. And we are on Erlenberg, and I'm working the middle. I'm not working the south or the north. I'm working the middle. And I don't know, when this map first came out, I used to always come down here to the middle, and then I stopped doing that and I started working the flanks more so, and now I've kind of gradually got back into the swing of working the middle area, because I prefer the middle area, because as everybody's kind of preoccupied with the flanks and their attention is focused elsewhere, I can get some decent shots into their sides, or sometimes I can completely miss. And you're going to see quite a bit of that in this game. I have 2 games in the Death Star, and this first game, it's going to be, I would say, considered a success by other tankers, in game, 100%, score wise and damage wise, etc, etc. But as a Death Star driver, as a tanker that's rolling out in the Fv215b, which is, has a nickname, the Death Star, one-shotting planets, it's undoubtedly 100% a failure, due to the fact that I don't actually pen anybody in this match. All I do is splash. And why is that? Because I'm forced to take chancy shots here and there. You saw I've fired twice already, and I've yet to pen anything. And granted, I didn't have to, but I took the shot anyway, because if it would have made contact, it would have been spectacular. It would have been fantastic, absolutely. But sometimes you're simply forced to commit to splash, splashing a target, due to the fact that you want your team to win. Absolutely, 100%. You just don't have a choice. Mouse, the cheek, E100, the cheek, it does work with Hesh. I think I've penned it on 1 or 2 occasions in the past, but this distance, the accuracy, blah blah blah, it just But anyhow, so I've inflicted my first bit of damage, and you can see he's angled, but lo and behold, what's next to him? A Batchat. Again, I don't know, do I splash him, do I pen him, who cares? I took him out the game. I think I'd take the mouse out in a minute, or the E100, I can't remember. But I was much more chuffed about taking out that Batchat. That Batchat gets over here on this side of the river. OMG, he's going to be a threat to us big time. A, circling me to death, and B, just being a scout and an irritating nuisance. Keep in mind, there's 2 pieces of artillery in play, and I forgot to mention that. The splash factor, a lot of it is down to the fact that there is 2 arty in play, and they're both in a platoon, so that kind of hinders me taking my shots properly as well. So, not making any excuses, absolutely 100%, no way, shape or form, but it is what it is. I've played plenty of games absolutely 100% in the Death Star, and it's some battles, some games, you are forced to simply splash. You have no choice, and you don't want to take the shot, but the enemy red's sitting there, and he's poking over a rock, like an IS-7, and he's just holding off 3 or 4 of your teammates, and they're just bouncing off him and bouncing and bouncing, and you don't want to take the shot. But if you do take that shot and you just splash the top of his turret, you'll take him out, and your teammates can move on down that flank, and there's nothing you can do. So I've how many shots have I taken? I've taken 6 shots. and I've yet to pen anybody. And yeah, so like I said, it's a high damage game, but it's not in no way, shape, or form a successful Death Star game, I would say. But anyhow, kudos to these two heavies up in the north who fended off the Reds big time. They did a fantastic job. I believe it's a mouse and an IS-7, but they did a fantastic job. I granted 100%, you know, I assisted them by taking out that bat chat, and the mouse, and I'm not sure did I pen anybody else, I can't remember. But there was a whole bunch of Reds heading that way, and we were losing big time. You know, we were losing big time. Granted, 100% we still are, but only by 2. You saw the top of the rooftop there. I'm thinking that was Artie. That was my thinking at the time. So this is kind of was an extra layer of OMG for me, basically. And yeah, I was getting very paranoid at this precise moment because I was being lit up. I didn't know who I was being lit up by. Assuming that it was that Tier 9 Woofy. And I was saying, okay, Artie is focused on me, and they're in a platoon, and they're, you know, communicating with each other, etc., etc. So a little bit of you know, the tension went up ever so slightly. E50M, and this, that bloom was just way too big, way too wide, and I'm not sure what happens here. I'm not sure if it was AFK. Either or, I said, you know, I'll take it 100%. Picking up my third kill again. You know, that RU, deadly tank, sitting up there on that ridgeline. 100%, I would say, what a complete waste of a tank. You know, if he was a TD, 100%, I get it, I understand, sort of, kind of, but you know, he could be doing so much for his team. But anyhow, not putting anybody down. So pushing up here again, I'm thinking Artie. But again, at the same time, I want to support my team. I want to support this flank over here. And my compadre gets taken out. And 10 to 8. It just felt like the whole game we're trying to catch up. And we just never could, and it kind of evens out every once in a while, but the Reds just they always seem to have the edge, and 10 to 9. And this is kind of like the part of the game where just everybody's waiting for the opposing team to make a move, or perhaps a mistake, so to speak. What to do. I believe I have a mouse that is up ahead, and that's the IS-7 on minuscule amount of health. Yeah, there we go. And I'm not sure what's to my left, which heavy's to my left. And a Death Star gets lit up. I believe that's the IS-7 lighting him up, and he's on a minuscule amount of health, so he's not that much of a threat. But I still, you know, this is what I was talking about. If I was forced to splash him, I would have, 100%. And a full health Woofy. He manages to pen me. Keep in mind, that was the first time anybody had penned my tank. Damages my engine, and I'm forced to use my repair kit. And now it's kind of a question of, okay, I've got the health, you know. I don't mind, you know. I'm willing kind of to take the hit, but at the same time I was thinking, you know, he could track me and just annihilate me. But luckily for me, my compadres kind of come into play and just pulverize, you know, his health pool. You can see there. And again, you know, Artie's still in play. I see his gun pointing at me, and I say, okay, just take the shot. And I rush the shot. I think that's my third shot where nothing happened. And I take a look at that heavy who's crept up, Fv215b, and he's on minuscule amount of health. He is a one-shot for me. The tier 10 Woofy is a one-shot for me, and the Artie is a one-shot for me. And it's at this moment where I say to myself, we've got this in the bag, you know, or I have got this in the bag. No problemo, 100%. All I need to do is get eyes on target first for each and every individual red player, and that's it. I've got 4 shells. We're good to go. As long as I surprise the Fv215b first, get a shot onto him, splash him to death. Possibly maybe I get a shot onto him without getting lit up. Then I move on to the Woofy, and then I move on to artillery. Whether or not my IS-7 stays alive or not is, you know, it's irrelevant. And speaking of the IS-7 staying alive, there he goes. Any second now, he's basically engaging the Woofy. He manages actually to take out the Woofy, which is fantastic, but you know, I don't want to sound big-headed or anything. I didn't really need it, and Artie takes him out. So Artie, you know, still in play, still a potent force, and all I need to do now is easy peasy lemon squeezy. He's just relocate the Fv215b. He should be over here. And that's where he is. He's capping, so I know exactly where he is. I just need to splash him. But I'm gonna get a bit of a shock here, and as I'm coming up to this ridgeline, Artie shows up. Artie shows up, and I'm about to miss my 4th shot of the game. But it's all good, you know. I've got 3 more, and yeah, he kind of comes down here attempting to use his speed and mobility, but it kind of really doesn't work out for him. I assume I just messed him up with that ram, because his turret is turning so slow. And but anyhow, in the meantime, I reload. I'm good to go. Fv215b has now come off the base 100%. I'm fully expecting him to come up here. If I was in his shoes, I would have just pulled back, but you know, I've got this 100%. Just don't make a fool of yourself. I've got the hit points, you know, I've preserved them. We're good to go. Just wait, you know, don't let RNG screw you over. There it is, right there. Okay, you know, I could have taken that shot 5-10 seconds earlier, but you know, things happen in World of Tanks, absolutely. And as you can see, you know, almost 5k damage, but I lost a buttload of silver due to the fact that I missed 4 shots, and not only that, you know, I didn't pen anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna leave you one more battle, and it's on, I can't remember the name. Oh, Severogorsk. And in this game, it's all about getting up on the ridge line on the west. You know, that was my primary focus. That was my primary aim. That was my primary goal, was not to work this flank that I'm currently on. It was simply to get on that ridge line overlooking, you know, the center base, because it's an encounter, and just get shots on target 100%. There's not a lot to commentate over here, you know, because once I do get on that ridge line, you know, it's happy days, absolutely 100%. It's completely the polar opposite of the previous game. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please drop a like, take it easy. I'm just judges.